Hey everybody. So our verse today is Isaiah 63. So I'll go ahead and read it. Nations will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your dawn. Now, when I first read through Isaiah for the first time, I'll be honest, I was utterly confused by it. And later on, when I studied a little bit deeper into it, I realized that I'm not the only one, that people have been perplexed by Isaiah throughout history. And I'll go ahead and explain why. And I'll be completely honest, I still don't fully understand it. But Isaiah is a book of prophecy. And there is a whole bunch of different types of prophecy, but for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about prophecy as stuff that is predicted that will happen that actually happens. And part of the reason why Isaiah is so confusing is because it's not necessarily in order. The events that are described aren't exactly in order, and that's why the Jews, during the time when Jesus was on the earth doing his ministry, they were confused about what was happening, and some of them even thought that there was going to be two messiahs, because you have this idea of this suffering Messiah and the idea of this Messiah that's going to conquer and reign. Which now we have a better understanding of that Jesus has two comings, and in the first coming he was the suffering Messiah, and then when he comes back he's going to be the conquer and reigning Messiah. But back then they didn't know that, and Isaiah is kind of all over the place with all these prophecies, so that's why it's really hard to understand. So if you're reading through it and you don't get it, you are not alone. Don't feel bad about it. And there's some conjecture about the authors of Isaiah. And when I first studied it, I heard that the first 26 chapters were written by the prophet Isaiah. And then 27 through 66 were written by his apprentices. And when I studied more into it today, I found out there's a lot of differing views on that, but that's what I heard. So anyway, in our verse for today, which I'll go ahead and read it again. Nations will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your dawn. So there's this imagery of light and darkness, and this is a reoccurring theme throughout the Bible. So let me go ahead and read a few verses about light and darkness. So we have John 8:12, which says that Jesus is the light of the world. And he says, whoever follows me will never walk in darkness. And then in John 1:5, talks about Jesus being light in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And then 1 John 1:5, God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Okay? And then Ephesians 5:8 says, for you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of the light. Okay? And then in Matthew 5:14 through 16, Jesus says that we are the light of the world. And by that, it means that we reflect his light. And so, referring back to the verse of the day again, nations will come to your light. In Matthew 28:19, the Great Commission, Jesus says, "Go make disciples of the nations." And then 4, "And kings to the brightness of your dawn." We have Philippians 2:10 that says, "Every knee will bow and every tongue confess." And just a fun side note about this, that's actually a prophecy from Isaiah 45:23 that gets fulfilled. Well, that will be fulfilled. And then Revelation 4:10-11, the elders cast their crowns before the Lord. So, just a lot of cool prophecy about how everyone's gonna be under Christ eventually. So cool. So, in that verse we have, "And kings to the brightness of your dawn." And in the Bible, dawn represents hope, new beginnings, and God's light overcoming darkness. It marks key moments of divine rescue, spiritual awakening, and the promise of joy after sorrow. And that's what's going on in this section of Isaiah exactly, is the promise of joy after sorrow. So, that promise is for everyone. That's available to you. If you come to Christ, you will have joy that is just beyond words, just peace that makes no sense. And you can have that at any time. So, if you're watching this and you don't know Jesus, just cry out to him and you will not be disappointed, I promise. That's how it was for me. I had divine rescue, spiritual awakening, and joy after sorrow when I did it. So I really hope that this video was educational. I would love feedback, but I really hope that it blessed somebody today. So have a great day, and God bless, guys.